Good evening. I'm just going to wait until a few people jump on, but I decided that it was a good opportunity to talk a little bit about skin tonight and some different types of dehydration. Hey Charlotte. I had a client contact me this week. I've put a lot of people on a new type of water filter, clients and friends and myself as well. And this particular type of filter has minerals in it. And this particular client of mine messaged me yesterday and said to me that her skin is significantly less flaky and she's only been using the water filter for about 3 days, which is crazy. So I thought this was a good opportunity for me to jump on and just talk a little bit about skin and dehydration and the types of different dehydration when it comes to skin. So one being lipid dry and the other one being water dry. And so this client has, well, I actually thought it was lipid dry because her skin was very dry. And she was drinking water, but it's a crazy shift in just, a 1% in going, I'm going to start drinking filtered water that's got minerals in it, and the way that then the cells absorb the water and so that you're less dehydrated. Like, that's a crazy result, and I'm really happy with it, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But that's just one shift, and the difference between you drinking water and then realizing that your body and the cells are not actually absorbing it because the water is hard, it hasn't got minerals, it's got lots of chemicals in it as well. So anyway, what I want to talk about what lipid dry is and what water dry is, and how you can sort of tell the difference. Because if you go to a beautician, they'll often tell you have dry skin, but there is definitely a difference between water dry and lipid dry, and most people, I would say, have both. But because deficiencies in good fats and omega-3s is very high, but so is dehydration. But there is definitely a difference between the two, and it sort of has blown my mind that someone can have such a dramatic effect from having a good quality water filter with minerals in it within about 3 days. So I just thought that's been a real eye-opener for me, going, wow, like if you get in the right quality of water, which I carp on about all the time, but this has been a big shift for me, going, okay, let's just up it and let's get a water filter that's got minerals in it, because it makes a big difference to the skin. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other results I get with the clients that have bought, clients and friends and myself that have bought this filter, because it's cool. But my point is, I just want to go through, I guess, the different types of dehydration. And so there's lipid dry. So when I say lipid, it means oil and the good fats. And to go to the basics, when we're talking about the skin, our skin is, it's got a barrier, like it has a function to keep us protected from the outside world. It has an immune function, and there is a layer of fat and a combination of different types of fats on the surface of the skin. And so it acts as a barrier, and the quality of this fat is really, really important, because that makes up, every single cell in our body is made up of fat, and we have a lipid layer around each cell. And so the quality of the fat for the cells is really important, and is that compromised? And so we need a good amount of omega-3s, omega-6, omega-7, omega-9. And omega-3 is something that is very hard for us to get through our diet because we're not getting in enough, and it's essential. And when you hear the word essential, it means basically that we need to get it from food. Our body can't eat something, and convert it into that. Whereas other fats, we can do that. But if it's essential, so there's essential omega-6, omega-7, omega-6, omega-3, we have to get it in through our diet. It's very easy to get in omega-6. It's not as easy to get in omega-3, right? So that is lipid dry. So the way that lipid dry looks is small pores. I've got notes because I'll forget. Rough and flaky. It can be larger wrinkles. So I know people are going to be watching this and they're being like, I've got both. but larger wrinkles, and then the barrier can start to become damaged. So, you know, with examples like skin conditions such as eczema or psoriasis, I would also say that there would be a deficiency going on, or a barrier dysfunction happening, because the fats and the quality of the fats aren't good enough, right? So that's Lipid Dry, okay? And if you go to a beautician, they'll want to give you oil on the face, but really, to me, most of this needs to be coming through the diet. We need to be getting it through, if you're vegetarian, you'll be getting it from plant sources, or vegan, either oily fish like deep sea fish, or a fish oil, which is very controversial. And you've really got to be, that's a whole nother kettle, pardon the pun, a whole nother kettle of fish, but you've really got to be quite careful with what you do, or you go and get it from a plant source. Now, you can get some good omega-3s from plant sources, which is from the plankton, which I really love. But there's some other awesome plants that you can get omega-3s from as well. But it needs to have EPA and DHA in it, so your body doesn't have to convert it. Because things like, say, for example, flaxseed oil, even though it has omega-3 in it, walnuts, all those things, we're getting essential fatty acids through them. It's got to be converted to EPA and DHA, which is why people say get your omegas from deep sea fish, for example, or wild salmon, because they've got EPA and DHA in them, which is the converted form of omega-3, which we use for brain health, heart health. It's like the active form, all right? So if you do eat fish, first of all, you want to be careful where you're getting it from. And second of all, you know, for example, like salmon in Australia, you can't get wild salmon unless it's imported. So, and it will be frozen. So you can get wild smoked salmon, I found that, but it's pretty rare. The salmon I usually go for is Huon brand, because some of the other brands are very much different farmed. There are also, there's King Island from New Zealand that's meant to be quite good too, like all grown, like it's farmed, but they're in rivers and stuff, and they feed them naturally. So it's what the fish eat. It's not, you just aren't what you eat, you are what you eats too. So that understanding that as well, and going, okay, well, I need to make sure I'm getting lots of omega-3s in my diet, and maybe I need to supplement, because usually we're not getting in enough. Okay, so that's Lipid Dry. Then we go over to Water Dry, and Water Dry looks like flaky, finer lines, and also more tightness. Still can be, but more finer, not as thick wrinkles. And so then this comes down to hydration. Are we drinking enough water? Is the quality of the water we're getting in enough? So meaning, are we drinking filtered water? Please, 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 if you're going to do yourself one massive health step in the right direction, just go and purchase a good water filter. The brand of the water filter I have now switched to is called Zarzan, and I am officially a retailer, so I'm offering it to clients at a discount, because this is one of the things I'm trying to do, is go, okay, what are the things I always recommend, and what can I bring to my community so that people are getting better deals, and this is one of the things, so that they're getting it cheaper than retail. So that's but Zarzan, you can go buy it, you can you can buy it through lots of different people, but it's a beautiful water filter. It's got minerals in it, so there's rocks in the bottom. I would show you, but I don't want to show you my kitchen because it's filthy. It's got rocks in the bottom of it, and so there's lots of different minerals. It's got magnesium. I was speaking to the lady who works there, who's been helping me set stuff up, and because I've ordered a few for different clients, and I did it as a bulk order, and she said to me, there's stories where people have had eczema all their life, and they've started drinking this water and it's disappeared, and cracked heels and all sorts of stuff. So I got really excited about it when I actually then started to get feedback from this client yesterday who was like, oh my God, my skin is so much better. Is this possible? And I'm like, yes, it is. Because the minerals in the water, and also the pH of the water. So the thing with tap water you've got to understand, I'm going to go on this little tangent, is that there's lots and lots of crap in tap water. There's chlorine, there's fluoride, there's heavy metals, there's BPA and other phthalates and things, like, which is the byproducts from plastics, and these are all endocrine disruptors. So there's lots of things that can affect it, and we're taking this in. And I was listening to an interview with a lady the other day who is a scientist on, I think it was Joe Rogan or something, and she was just talking about, okay, they were doing tests on the levels of phthalates in newborns and these babies that were preemie, and testing their blood, and the proportion of phthalates was proportional to how many tubes the baby had in them. So the more tubes, the more phthalates, because it's soft plastic. And so that was a real eye-opener, and it's like, then you think about all the soft plastics that are in your world. And soft plastics are in everything, like your food, the food we eat. A lot of the, processed food, water, drinks, things come in soft plastic. And so that is very, very concerning, and they're endocrine disruptors. And that was a real, reminder for me to go, yeah, this is big. And I always talk about it, but we always constantly need reminding of these things. So drinking clean filtered water, if you can just do one thing for yourself, just go and buy a good, it doesn't have to be under sink, because these ones are benchtop, but there's some good ones out there. But I think the ones with the minerals is now, I'm starting to see, I'm like, yeah, I can see why this is way better. So, and then the other reason with water, just while we're on that topic, is, things like chlorine can affect the bacteria on our skin. It also going to kill off bacteria in our digestive system. There's a connection between the two. I've also got a filter in my shower now that filters out chlorine too, which is way gentler. And I notice it when I go have a shower in a regular shower that hasn't got a filter. Big difference. So that's the other thing. That would be the next step. But if you haven't got a filter and you're not drinking filtered water, I would do that first. So they're the two differences. And one of the reasons with the minerals is magnesium is really important for the water to absorb into the cell. And these minerals have got these rocks have got minerals in them. So there's magnesium and other minerals in there that we as Australians anyway are very deficient in. I'd say most of the Western population are deficient, and it's been estimated that it's around 70 to 80% of people are deficient. I actually would say it was higher than that in magnesium. And so magnesium is important for so much. It's super important. Please do not bark. So I've got to control the dog as well. So yeah, there's a difference, right, between lipid dry and water dry. And so this is a good question for you, is if you have skin conditions, or even if you just want to look after your body and your skin, it's like, am I getting in enough good fats, omega-3s? And am I also getting in enough good quality water, and I am absorbing it? So one other thing I want to point out is when you do drink water, it is much better for you to sip water slowly and ongoing. You will absorb it better than if you get a whole glass and scull it down. Now, I have been guilty of this. I will say, when I'm in a rush, I will scull down water. But I do know, and what I've noticed is that I will go to the bathroom a lot less when I sip continuously. So if I have a drink bottle and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sip on this all day, it's by my desk, I'm sipping, I will absorb it better because I won't go to the bathroom as much. If I keep sculling glasses of water, I will continually have to go to the bathroom because it just flushes through me. And with that, you're also flushing out not just the bad stuff, but also the minerals and things as well. So that's really important, and it's really easy to do. And I'm always blown away by the amount of people that still drink tap water, like really out of everything. And I've done posts on this. If you want to go and Google a water main on Google Images, inside a water main, go and Google that. I did a post on this a while ago, which came from a very reliable source, and many people that I know that work in that world, saying, yeah, that this is what this happens. This is what inside a water main looks like. It can be disgusting. Not to mention there can be other things like dead rodents and all sorts of things that get stuck in there, and you know, the water goes through there, and they say they clean it, but it still has to get from the cleaning plant to your house, which is in through lots of pipes and into your thing, and then we're drinking that. So our bodies are burdened enough. There is enough chemicals in our world. We do not need it in our water. And then there's the argument of fluoride, and my stance on that is the fact that, you know, fluoride will bind to our iodine receptor. We need iodine for healthy thyroid function, to grow a healthy baby, for the developing brain of a fetus, cognitive development of a brain. So there's lots of different purposes of iodine as well, particularly thyroid's the big one, and unborn bab. And we are blocking, we've not only got soils that are low in minerals, such as iodine, and we've got foods that are low in minerals because they're grown in crappy soil, then we've got things that are blocking any iodine that we might absorb. So for example, bromide, fluoride, anything in that haloid family, if you look at the periodic table, go back to school and go on that left-hand side, there's fluoride, bromide, I can't remember, there's another one. So on that left-hand side, you can look it up. I get put on the spot, but those things are bromides in lots of things like fire retardants, in new car smell, in lots of different things. I think they might even use it, and correct me if I'm wrong, on as a pesticide. And I think it could, you know, like there's different things that they use it for. So it's everywhere. So this is like this constant blocking of binds, and then we're already deficient. So it's a real battle. So just becoming conscious of the quality of the things that you're putting into your body, and is that going to nourish you, and the impact that's having on you. And if there's something in your, for example, like dry skin, back to the dry skin, that you've been struggling with for such a long time, and you're going, you know, people going to the beautician and getting certain oils, and I'm like, that's probably 20%, you know, maybe 10. But the other part is what we're putting in our body. And that comes back to the water and the good fats and the foods, and, you know, and that also comes back to the other foods that are not so helpful, that are inflammatory, but in this context, we're talking about the good fats and the water. So it's 2 really simple things that you can do, you know, go and get yourself a very good supplement. I think everyone really should be supplementing with a good omega-3. That is my opinion. And a lot of people prefer to go down the plant-based route for that too, and that is also challenging. So there's a lot of things that I could expand on in this conversation just based on that as well. But that might be for another post. So if you've got any questions, please comment below, and just let me know, and then I can expand on this in another post, because it is definitely an interesting conversation. I know a lot of people struggle with different skin conditions like eczema and acne and psoriasis and dry skin, flaky skin, dermatitis, those types of conditions, and a lot of it can come back to simple dehydration, not enough fat, not enough water. And they're definitely the first things that I address, but now having already have feedback within 3 days of, you know, someone getting in good water to their cells, and the difference that makes with their dry skin is profound. So I will keep you updated on that. But I'm really excited about it, and I've heard other practitioners talk about this brand of water filter for so long, and I was like, why have I been so slow off the mark? So super exciting. If you've got any questions about that, please just reach out and DM me, but I will see you all soon, and I hope you have a beautiful night. Ciao.